Hello and welcome to episode 10 of Question and Answer. Today I'm going to be answering 3 topics, one from the YouTube comments from the last video and 2 from the Cast Iron Strength forums. Before we go over that, we're just going to have a look at some of the comments, or one of the comments. One of the comments is a question from episode 9. Scottish 8607, and this is a response to the question and answer on lift or periodization for lifters. This video has been one of the best ones you've done, Mark. Much more insight and some things I have never thought about in 10 plus years of lifting. Taking a lot from this. Glad you liked it so much, Jumbo. Spread the word, brother. More than 3 people commenting would be quite nice in the comments. Would give me more stuff to work with. But all the guys who are commenting, engaging with the videos, really do appreciate it. It does make this a lot easier. And especially comments like that. Thanks a lot, Jumbo. It means a lot. Okay, so first question from Jimmy Brungus. Jesus, Mark, bring back the beard. Sorry, bruh. I was dressed up as Freddie Mercury for my mother's 60th last weekend, so I shaved in a mustache. I wasn't entirely sure how well the mustache would keep without me getting locked up in prison for being a pervert. Thanks for answering my questions regarding cutting. Thoughts on psyching up frequently, i.e. say 1-3 heavy top sets, but being fairly aroused, in commas, for most compound stuff sets, on your average upper lower 4-day split. Also, developing a positive mindset towards progress. Had a shitload of setbacks, so it's something I've struggled with. Seems to be a huge factor. First and foremost, regarding psyching up, it's been I would say it'd be reasonably common with most of the stronger lifters that I've trained with in the past that they have a fairly common psych up routine that they use. Most of them tend to use the same psych up routine for every meaningful set, so they'll generally just warm up whatever when they get like 2-3 sets away from whatever. Either the first working set, or these tend to be more single set lifters, so they'll be going for like a big set of 10, heavy triple, heavy single, whatever it is, trying to just lift more and more week on week typically. They'll start entering into their routine by the first set, certainly. Have a multi-set workout, or before like a big set, they'll start slipping into their kind of pre-routines. Some are quite quiet, discreet. Others make an absolute fucking racket. Depends on the lifter. It's absolutely up to you what you do, what you don't do. It's your pre-routine psych up. The only thing it should be the same thing every time. And it should just be a switch that gets you in the right place to lift or the right place to get yourself going. Now, as regards to my opinion on psyching up like that frequently, I'm personally, and it's probably more to my personality, or probably more so the last 2-3 years, I try to keep psych ups to a minimal. My psych ups are pretty much non-existent. I'll psych up for like a big lift or a big set. So examples of the recent like 3-4 months. I did my 220 squat, beltless, going for a PB, psyched up for that. Psyched up today for 245, and I psyched up a little bit a couple of weeks ago for 240 on the squat. So I kind of get milestones when I'll start psyching up. So it's going to be a rep out set for squat or deadlift, then I'll definitely psych up. And I've got my own kind of routine that I use for that. Bench press, depends. I will do like for comps and stuff, I will psych myself. I'll probably psych myself up more for bench press and comps than I do for squat and deadlift. By the time it gets to deadlift and comps, I'm normally fucked, so there's only so much psyching up you can do. But yeah, it really is a personal thing. I think you should probably keep it in the tank unless you need it. Like if you're doing a 6x6 workout or you're doing 5x5 3 times a week, but you gotta psych up before every lift, like properly, it's gonna kind of dull its effect a bit. I think it's good. It's really, you do have to have your own psych up, and you do have to have your own kind of pre-lift mental routine to get yourself ready to go. And that needs to be the same every time. if you listen to someone like Kirkowski talking, that he has the same approach to the bar, whether it's empty or whether it's his personal best. So we'll use that same routine for every routine. For me, if it's just a set of 5, it's not that hard. I'll just get onto the bar and squat it and not worry too much about it. It's only when I need to start kind of getting aroused for a set that I'll start slipping into my pre-routine. So yeah, it depends on the method you're training. If you're doing something like 5-3-1, where it's like one big set in the week, then yeah, psych up for every set. If you're doing a volume-based program, where it's like Smolov, good luck psyching up for 10 sets of 3, 8 sets of 4, 5 sets of 7, and 7 sets of 5 every week. Nah, I would not advise you do that. It's going to get real repetitive, real fast. But then, if you're doing the 10 sets of 3 workout, you're struggling on set 10, and you need to drag it out of yourself, keep it for then, and then you can use it. I just like keep it in the hole, ready to go in case I need it. So if I'm doing a grueling workout and I need to drag it out, drag that set out of myself. Like 2 years ago, there's that video of me from the 6x6 200 kilo workout when I'm like singing along to R. Kelly, shouting and stuff. That was an interesting workout. That was like an hour 30 minutes into that last set. I was battling from the first set, and I psyched up for every set. And that was an absolutely fucking brutal workout. One of the better workouts I've done. But yeah, up to that point, not really psyching up. Like 6.3s, then psych up, 6.4s, then psych up, 6.5s. As the difficulty kind of raises, and you need to get into that zone to lift it, then yeah, get into the zone. But if you don't need to get into the zone, I'll keep it in the tank. Unless you're training like maximal every week, in which case you gotta go to that place and do it. I thought this was a really good question about developing a positive mindset towards progress. Something you'll know if you follow me. I've suffered from a few injuries in the past couple of years, shoulder, hip. My lower body lifting was nowhere for a year. It took me ages to get back to the place where I was training. I just got to the point after like 7 months of not really being able to train. I just got to the point where I was just happy to train. What I did was I typically would have been like a more of a train heavy all the time sort of guy. I do like if I'm doing 10s, I'm going as heavy as I can for the 10, or 3 sets of 10, I'm going heavy as I can. Like every time I step into like a weights room for a squat or a deadlift, I'm doing it once a week. I'm doing it as heavy or as hard as I can. I think if you train to that intensity all the time, it leads to a lot of battling. So if things start getting on top of you in that situation, if things aren't going so well, like you start missing. Like if you listen to Baby Slayer's talk, where he does like a little monologue about the psychology of lifting and what it takes to be the strongest lifter you can be, that kind of encapsulates that sort of mentality perfectly. Someone who's just all about, look, I've just got to get better. I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to go hard as I can every week. Go hard as I can every session. If I don't make my sets and reps, it's a shit week. It's going to fuck up my life. Someone who just like lives and breathes for that sort of progress. That sort of person's going to come a cropper at some stage. And they're probably not the most well-adjusted person when it comes to training. Like, undoubtedly they'll be strong. Undoubtedly they'll make great progress. But somewhere down the line, progress is going to stall, or it's going to be hard to come by. It's going to take a while. It's going to take you like a year to get 20 kilos on a lift, which might take a month before. Now it takes a year to get 5 kilos. Inevitably, at some stage in this sport or in this kind of training, shit's gonna slow down. So you need to train in a way that isn't constantly just in your face. Look, how many reps can you do? How heavy can you do all the time? Because it's just gonna fuck up with your head. Like it's gonna make you start doubting. Your confidence will be low. Low confidence in lifting means you're gonna be a shit lifter. It's a confidence sport, no doubt about it. Guys who tend to be good lifters tend to be cocky, arrogant, self-assured. Kind of goes with the territory. If you're in this kind of sport where it's a solo sport, and B it's just a measure of how good you are. Like, it's an objective measure how good you are. There's a number, the squat, number of the bench, number of the deadlift. That you can say, look, well, I've done better than I ever did, so it's great. Or I'm way off the pace. Like, it's not like it's there in front of you. There's an objective feedback. So if you the sort of guy that doesn't deal with doubt, doesn't deal with self-doubt, isn't able to maintain a high confidence level, then, like, although the sport's fun, it's going to knock the shit out of you. It's just the way it is. The best way to deal with it, and the way I've dealt with it in the past year maybe, is just do volume, man. Let the volume do the work. Don't fucking worry about how many reps you're doing, how many sets you're doing. Do your sets, do your reps, make it look nice, make it easy, and just move it up slowly and progressively. And I guarantee you, you will get stronger using that approach. Not every workout has to be hard. It doesn't really. You'll get good gains, but for a limited amount of time. The way I'm training right now, I'm getting stronger pretty much month on month. It's slow, but it's happening. And my workouts, to be honest, really aren't difficult. No, we'll see how we go. I guess the proof's in the pudding, but I would say, kind of links back to your first question as well. Stop getting psyched up so much, drop your training intensity, look to just accrue good volume, make your training boring for a while, and just kind of go with it. So, like, I don't know, 5-5s, 4-4s, 3-3s. Pick a set rep scheme, it don't matter. Start light, 3 sessions a week. Do the same lifts. If you do powerlifting, do deadlift twice, bench, squat 3 times. Do pull every day, do some back every day, and just do that for a month. Start light, add some weight every week, and just let it chip away, man. You'll start enjoying yourself more, and you'll start to see progress eventually. It might take 3-4 months before you're past where you're at now, but it will happen eventually. And you've always got that psych up in the tank if you need to go heavier, which helps a fuckload. Okay, thanks, Jimmy. Hope I've answered your questions. Any more, please feel free to shoot them at. Do enjoy them. Cheers for the banter as well. Appreciate it. So, a couple of ones from the Cast Iron Strength forums. 12 minutes in, so not so bad. Time for a couple more. Fentable from the forums, at a thread. It's talking about his ankle. I'm going to read out. I have limited mobility in my left ankle due to a bad sprain some years ago. I've been stretching it as best I can for a year or more, but the physio opinion is I've probably got some bony impingement that limits movement. Actual medical confirmation pending, so it's not likely to improve without surgery. It interferes with lifting only in that I run out of ankle travel as I pass parallel in the squat, and it introduces a twist that can really throw off at the lift. On physio advice, I have some small foam lifts in my Power Perfects that make quite a difference, but don't actually solve the problem. The obvious solution would seem to be more heel height, either via further lifts in my existing shoes or other shoes with a higher heel. But I have no idea if there's a downside to that I should be considering. Maybe, for example, any heel hip higher than a standard lifting shoe causes bone cancer. Have at it, wise people. Okay. So, just to relate to the original problem, if there's something structurally abnormal in the ankle, as in you have a bony spur that's impinging into a tendon or ligament and it's just stopping that knee travel happening, my advice would be that if it's easy for you to get the surgery. So, for example, if you're with Bupa, obviously I'm not a healthcare professional, so any advice you do take from this is completely off your own back. I'm a strength coach, not a physiotherapist, but I do have a little bit of experience working with injured athletes. So if you can easily get the surgery on your insurance, if you're Bupa, I would just go ahead and get the surgery, because you might lose 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, where you're in a cast. But if it goes well, then it's an instant solution to this problem, rather than either cobbling together a higher heel lift on a shoe, buying higher shoes. There's a point where if you raise up the heel lift too much in the squat, it is going to put a lot more stress on the patellofemoral joint. It's going to make it a very quad dominant lift, which it is anyway, but more so it's going to make it an unnaturally quad dominant lift. The example you might want to do is put your shoes on, and then put your heels up on like a 10 kilo lipo plate, so an extra inch of lift, and then start squatting with it, and just feel how much more knee dominant that is when compared to like a normal sort of squat. Chances are it might remove the twist a little bit. The twist is still going to be there. It's not going to remove it entirely. So if you can get some kind of medical solution that's going to solve the problem at source, don't fuck about. Just get the medical solution, and then you might take a 4-week sidetrack, but it's going to mean much better training in the future. So just get that. If it's confirmed and there's an easy solution, obviously follow your medical experts' advice and not mine. If it were me, I'd just get the surgery. If it were me, but I'm not you. And don't blame me if things fuck up. Please don't sue me. Please don't sue. Please sue. So and then another question from the forums, David. I've never done rack pulls, and this is rack pulls versus deadlift. I've never done rack pulls. The people I've spoken to have seemed to fall into two camps. Rack pulls are superior for anyone who is not actually competing in powerlifting, since they are much safer than deadlifts. Rack pulls don't develop the same kind of strength that deadlifts do. Number one was rack pulls are superior because they're safer. Number two, rack pulls don't develop the same kind of strength that deadlifts do. Too many people use rack pulls as ego boosters. They lift absurd weights with short range of motion and poor form. I have a soft spot for deadlifts, since they are not the only lift. They are the only lift I have any kind of natural talent for, long arms. But there is no denying that they can fry one's lower back. I've been hit with a baseball bat, and the pain I felt in my lower back on Sunday when I was deadlifting reminded me of that. Mark, maybe you could do a Q&A video for this. I sure can, and here we are. Right, so let's look at this pragmatically. They're both deadlift. One's off a rack, one's off the floor. That's the be all and end all. It's the same lift, just taken from a different position. So you can put them on blocks if you want, as has been suggested on the forums. It's a good suggestion. It does make it more applicable to deadlifting, which is sweet. But if you train in the CSE, which you do, they don't have deadlift blocks, which means you have to set up with plates, which makes it a logistical fuck up. And to make life easy, there are 4 power racks in there where you can set up the height real easy. So for the purposes of someone who is not a power lifter and doesn't have the flexibility, or maybe doesn't have the awareness to get the proper start position from the deadlift, or a safer start position than the deadlift, so you're not picking it up with a bent back. Maybe your hamstrings aren't flexible enough for it. Maybe you're really stiff through your thoracic spine, so when you go into more flexion through the hip and the knee, that becomes blatantly apparent. You're all hunched up. Maybe you got tight chest. Maybe you can't get into a nice extended thoracic position because you're all pulled in here. Whatever the reason, and that reason could be anything and varied, if you bring the start height of the deadlift up, then all of a sudden it's real easy to get in a nice position. So I've got one athlete in particular who his best clean was like 130, because the people who were having him lift before had him going off the floor, which is fine if you're a weightlifter. If you're a professional athlete who does another sport, who cares? So it's one simple thing got him to lift up blocks. His back wasn't limited anymore, and now he's clearing 157, and he's better for it. So it depends. I guess the real question is, what are you training for? If you're training to get better at deadlift, then block deadlift is better because it's more applicable to deadlift, because ultimately it has more transfer into your deadlift. If you're using it for just general strength qualities, or you're using it for your sport, then who cares? You pick the movement where you can train it, get a similar, if not better, benefit off it, and train safer in better positions. Like ultimately, if you can train in better positions doing different movements, so if you're not flexible enough to do a full squat and you play football, then do block squat, or spend the time dealing with the form. So I guess the real answer to the question is, you can either strip the weight back, get some help, look at your form. If there's problems with your form, sort out in deadlift. So then you can start using deadlift more, and then just kind of lower your training loads and use deadlift in a lighter manner, and then over time build it back up again. Or you can change the lift into something like a rack pull from below the knee, where the range of motion is in much less. So the standard bar height is 9 centimeters, or 9 inches, sorry. A plate's got an 18-inch diameter. The bar also goes through the middle of the plate, so that means that the start height for deadlift is 9 inches. The reason for that is so if I'm doing clean and jerk or snatch, and I drop the bar and I fall with it, it's enough clearance that it won't kill me. Won't crush my chest, won't crush my neck, won't break my legs. If I fall down flat and it lands there. That's the reason the bar is the height it is, for clearance and for falling from Olympic lifting. That's the reason. That's why we deadlift from 9 inches. Because a manufacturer of barbells who standardized the equipment we use decided to take it off 9 inches. Now, for me, a better height might be 13 inches. For you, a better height might be 12 inches. Your natural deadlift, the ideal starting position for your deadlift, for your structure, could be 9.5 inches, could be 8.5, could be 7, could be 6, could be 4, could be 3, could be 8, could be 9. But we all use the same weights, we all use the same bars. So the start point of the deadlift is arbitrary anyway. If you compete in a federation like GPC, where they use the 8-foot bar, well, the bar bends more, so the start point of the deadlift's actually higher. It'll start at 9 inches, but once flex is induced in the bar, you're probably taking it off the floor about 10, 11 inches, maybe 12 if there's a fuckload of weight on it. So they start from a different position than we do. If you use an IPF stiff bar, then you start at 9, because that shit ain't flexing. I went fucking dark again. You can kind of see what I'm getting from. Like, it's an arbitrary start point anyway, so why worry about it? Why sweat it? If you're not competing in powerlifting, I say rack pulls are better, or block deadlifts are better. Block deadlifts are definitely better for the bar, but if you're training CSC, just use only shit bars, or just use a bar that's already bent, probably better. They should have bars in there that are bent. They just kind of say, look, use this for rack pulls if you want. Just fucking have at it. I would look at maybe, I would do both in the meantime. We'll talk about this a bit later maybe. But like, do rack pulls lighter, but kind of, you can go heavier with them, and then start from the floor with deadlift, and then just work on your position, work on that as we go, and hopefully get your deadlift to a point where you can train it from the floor, and just be free from it, like not get niggles. The thing is with training is you shouldn't get stiff back from training in the weights room. If you're a powerlifter or you're a strongman and you spasm your back in the build up to a meet or at a meet because you're trying to go for personal best, it's fine. It's what you're there to do. So it's maybe bad planning, but it's fine because it's your sport. If you're a sports person and you're getting hurt in the gym, then we need to look at what you're doing, because something's not right. You shouldn't get hurt in the gym. The gym's a pretty safe place. So maybe you're training too heavy, maybe your form's not right, maybe it's just a bad rep, fuck knows. But to stop it happening again, you need to address it. And I think rack pulls are a better starting point. So if there are problems with your start position in the deadlift, then you definitely can get a height from a rack pull where you're going to be able to get a decent bit of posture and pull it in a safer plane. And you're still going to get strength through your upper back, your mid back. You're going to get hip extension strength. You'll get less knee extension because it's from a higher height, but it's not a knee lift anyway, so it doesn't matter. It's a hip lift, it's a lower back lift, it's an upper back lift. And you'll get all of those things from rack pulls below the knee. Some people do rack pulls from like mid-thigh, deadlift 400 kilos, to massaging their ego. Let them do their thing. Don't worry about them. Do your thing properly, get the benefits out of it. They can fuck about it if they want. But yeah, like a lot of the advice you'll get from people is going to be based off getting better at lifting. That's not necessarily what we're here for. Lifting is a tool that we can use to get better at other things. If you're a power lifter or a strong man, then yes, block pulls are better. If you're an athlete, it doesn't fucking matter. Whatever works, whatever tool best works for that situation, that's what you use. So that's the way I would look at it. I wouldn't look at it as deadlifts are better than rack pulls. It's a dichotomy, and dichotomy is just poor reasoning. Okay, hopefully I've answered your question. And this is certainly something we shall touch on further, I assume. Yeah, questions, comments, please leave them below. Join the forums. We can ask beautiful questions like Fentable and David. Thanks a lot, guys. Really do appreciate it. Hopefully you've gotten something out of this video. If you like it, hit the like button, subscribe, don't subscribe, whatever. Do whatever the fuck you want. I could steal a Hodgman's right there, but I'm not gonna. 26 minutes, shit, this stuff's long. Okay, hopefully it's been enjoyable. Yeah, mark cast iron strength, which is now right. Yeah. The logo watermarked. What up? Don't be stealing my shit. Not that anyone's gonna fucking steal this because no one watches it anyway. This is Mark, castironstrength.com, signing off. Till next time, goodbye.